Welcome back to our channel, English with Ethan. Today we're starting something powerful, something real. The topic is Stop Waiting, Start Creating. Let's be honest. We've all waited too long. We've waited for the perfect moment. We've waited for the right mood, more knowledge, better tools, support from others. But what happens when we wait? Nothing. Time passes, dreams fade. Motivation dies slowly, quietly, while we tell ourselves, one day, maybe tomorrow. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. The lie we keep telling ourselves. So many of us carry a lie in our minds, and the lie is, I need to feel 100% ready before I start. But think about it. Have you ever been 100% ready for anything in life? Were you 100% ready for your first job? Your first public speech? Your first big decision? No. You learned by doing. You grew by trying. You became stronger not before the start, but after the start. Waiting does not create readiness. Action does. Example: the silent musician. Let me share a new story. There was a young man who wanted to become a musician. He had a guitar, a notebook, and a head full of songs. But every time he thought about uploading a video or performing, he stopped himself. He thought, what if people laugh? What if I make a mistake? What if I fail? So he waited for the perfect lyrics, the perfect voice, the perfect time, and he kept waiting. Years passed. Others with less talent moved ahead, not because they were better, but because they started. And finally one day he realized, fear was not stopping him. Waiting was. So he uploaded a simple video, not perfect, not viral, but it was the beginning. Today, he's a full-time musician because he learned the truth. It's better to begin imperfectly than to never begin at all. You don't need all the steps, just the first one. Let's say you're standing at the bottom of a staircase. You can't see the top. It's foggy, unclear, but you can see the first step. What do? You take that step. Then the next appears, then the next. That's how success works. It unfolds one action at a time. Clarity doesn't come before movement. Clarity comes from movement. Think of time as your currency. Now think about this. Every day you're spending something, not money, but time. And here's the secret. Time is more valuable than money. You can always earn money again, but you can never get back the minutes, the hours, the years you've wasted waiting. If you wait 1 year to start, that's 365 days gone. If you start now, even slowly, that's 365 steps closer to your dream. So ask yourself honestly, is waiting helping me or hurting me? Don't wait for motivation. Build discipline. Another myth. I'll start when I feel motivated. But motivation is like the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's rainy. You can't wait for the weather to be perfect every day. Instead, build habits. Build discipline. Small daily action is more powerful than big dreams with no movement. Want to write a book? Start with 1 paragraph. Want to start a YouTube channel? Record 1 video. Want to speak better English? Learn 5 new words today. Small steps. Every day. That's how big dreams come true. You'll never feel 100% ready. And that's okay. It's important to accept this. You might never feel completely ready, and that's perfectly okay. The best creators, leaders, and changemakers in the world started with shaky hands. They were scared. They had doubts. But they moved anyway. They trusted progress, not perfection. And every time they took action, they became stronger. Not because fear disappeared, but because they stopped waiting. Let today be day one. So here's the final message for today's lesson. Let this be your day one. Not one day, but day one. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the most confident. You just need to begin. You are allowed to be a beginner. You are allowed to be imperfect. But you are not allowed to sit still and waste your life. Start messy. Start scared. Start small. But start, because life won't wait. Opportunities won't knock forever. And dreams don't work unless you do. Lesson 2. Progress over perfection. Keep moving forward. The perfection trap. Imagine this. You have a great idea. You feel excited. You start planning. But then, a voice whispers in your head, what if it's not good enough? What if people laugh? What if I fail? Suddenly, the idea you loved feels heavy. You think, I'll work on it when I can do it perfectly. But here's the truth. Perfection is a moving target. It never arrives. When you chase perfection, you keep delaying your dreams. You fix small things that don't matter. You overthink. And one day, you quit. Not because you failed, but because you didn't even start. The example of the young painter. Let me share a story. There was a young painter. He had great talent. He dreamed of showing his art to the world. But every time he finished a painting, he found something wrong with it. The color was slightly off. The lines were not smooth enough. The lighting could be better. So he kept every painting hidden in a drawer. 10 years later, he still had no audience. No one knew his name. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because he was waiting for perfect. And perfect never came. One day, his little cousin visited. She saw his paintings and said, "Why don't you share them? They're beautiful." And for the first time, he listened. He created a simple online page and uploaded his art. It wasn't perfect, but people loved it. And finally, his dream began. Done is better than perfect. Let's remember this simple truth. Done is better than perfect. You don't get results from the work you think about doing. You get results from the work you actually do. Would you rather have a perfect book in your head or a finished one in your hands? Would you rather dream of speaking fluent English or actually practice every day? Success doesn't wait for perfect. It rewards progress. One step, then another, then another. You're not a machine. You're a human. Perfection makes us feel like we're not enough. But think about this. No human is perfect. No leader, no artist, no creator. They all make mistakes. They all fall. But what makes them great is this. They don't stop. They accept their flaws. They learn. They grow. You too are allowed to learn. You're allowed to improve. But not if you stand still. The 1% rule. Here's a rule that changes lives. Improve by just 1% every day. It may seem small, but in 1 year, that's 365% growth. You don't need to jump. You don't need to fly. You just need to move forward. Slowly, honestly, consistently. That's how champions are made. The mirror truth. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, looking for every little problem? The skin, the clothes, the smile. We often do the same with our work. We look too closely. We see flaws no one else notices. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs your voice, your light, your effort. You're already more ready than you think. Shift your focus. Instead of asking, "Is this perfect?" ask yourself, "Is this honest? Did I give my best? Did I move forward?" If the answer is yes, then that is enough, because momentum matters more than perfection. Final words for Lesson 2. So here's what we've learned today. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is. You're allowed to be messy as long as you're moving. The world remembers action, not hesitation. If you're creating something, a dream, a project, a habit, don't aim to impress. Aim to express. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And remember, you'll never inspire the world by hiding your work in fear. Lesson 3. Action builds confidence. Not the other way around. Now in Lesson 3, we uncover a truth that holds millions of people back. I'll act when I feel confident. Let's break this lie today and replace it with a new mindset that will change your life. Confidence comes after action. Most people believe confidence is something you're born with, or that it magically appears one day. They wait. They keep learning. They over-prepare. They say, I'm not ready yet. I'll speak up when I feel more confident. But here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. The more you act, the more confident you become. You don't need to wait until you feel brave. You become brave by doing the thing that scares you. The story of the nervous speaker. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman who was terrified of public speaking. She couldn't even speak in front of 5 people without shaking. But one day, she made a decision. She joined a small speaking group. At first, she read from a paper. Her voice cracked. Her hands trembled. But she showed up again the next week, and again the next. Each time, her fear got smaller. Not because she stopped being nervous, but because she started taking action. After 6 months, she was leading meetings. After 1 year, she gave a powerful speech in front of 500 people. How did she gain confidence? By doing, not waiting. You learn by living it. Think about riding a bicycle. No one becomes confident on a bike by reading a book. You learn by trying, by falling, by getting back up. It's the same in life. Want to speak English confidently? You must speak. Want to lead people? You must take initiative. Want to start a YouTube channel? You must press record. Confidence grows with each step. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. What if I fail? Many people fear failure, but let's ask this. Is it really failure or just feedback? They didn't wait until they were perfect. They didn't wait until the fear disappeared. They just started and learned as they moved forward. Silence the inner critic. We all have a voice inside that says, "You can't do this. You're not good enough. What if you embarrass yourself?" That voice is not your enemy. It's your fear trying to protect you. But here's how you silence it. You act anyway. You thank your fear. Then you step forward. Each time you act, the voice grows quieter. Each time you show up, your belief grows louder. Start small, but start now. Don't wait for a big moment. Record your voice for 30 seconds today. Speak 1 sentence in English to a stranger. Write the first page of your book. Press publish on your first short video. No one expects you to be perfect. But if you never begin, no one can ever see your light. Remember this truth. Clarity comes from engagement, not thought. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to begin. Be your own cheerleader. Confidence doesn't only come from outside praise. It comes from honoring your own efforts. Celebrate your progress. Notice when you try something scary. Clap for yourself, even if no one else does. The more you recognize your small wins, the more courage you build. Final thoughts for Lesson 3. Let's remember what we've learned today. Confidence is built, not born. Every step forward makes the next step easier. Action kills fear. Waiting makes it stronger. If you want to transform your life, stop asking, "Am I confident enough?" Start asking, "What action can I take today?" Your courage will catch up, but only if you move. Lesson 4. Progress is loud. Perfection is silent. Now, in Lesson 4, we're going even deeper. Let's understand what this means and why it could completely change the way you live and grow. The problem with perfection. Perfection is the biggest dream killer. It's quiet. It doesn't scream. It whispers. Wait until it's better. You're not ready yet. This isn't good enough. And because it whispers, we listen. We say, maybe tomorrow. And the days keep passing. Weeks, months, even years. The sad truth? Perfection never arrives. It's not a destination. It's a trap. Progress has a voice. Now let's look at progress. Progress is different. It speaks loudly. When you take the first step, it claps. When you improve by 1%, it smiles. When you try again after failing, it shouts, "You're growing." Progress might not look fancy. It may feel small, but it's alive. It moves, and that's all success really is. Progress, repeated daily. The power of imperfect action. Think about this. Which is more powerful? A perfect plan in your head for 10 years, or a messy, imperfect start? Today, success is not built in your imagination. It's built in motion. Some of the greatest inventions, ideas, and businesses started as messy drafts. Let me give you a different example. A famous painter once said, "You don't find the art. You fight for it through the mess." The first strokes of a painting are ugly, but the masterpiece appears only when you keep going. That's the power of doing, not waiting. Why trying publicly builds strength. One reason people chase perfection is fear of judgment. They say, "What if others laugh? What if I make a mistake?" But here's the truth. Trying in public builds unshakable strength. People admire effort more than perfection. When they see you trying, even if it's not perfect, they cheer. Because most people are still stuck in fear. By showing up, you give others permission to begin too. That's leadership. Learn loudly, don't wait quietly. Let's imagine two students. One is silent, reads a lot, waits until she's perfect to speak. The other speaks every day, makes mistakes, learns loudly. Guess who grows faster? The second student. Because every time she speaks, she discovers a new way to improve. Don't hide behind books. Don't stay stuck in quiet preparation. Learn loudly, fail forward, improve out loud. That's real growth. Start before you're proud. Here's a life-changing quote. If you're not embarrassed by your first version, you started too late. Let that sink in. It means your first step might feel small, messy, or even awkward. But that's not a reason to stop. That's proof that you've started. Every strong person, every creator, every master, they began with shaky hands. They published work they didn't love. They showed up before they were proud. And that's how they became proud. Choose progress daily. So how can you apply this today? Here are a few ideas. Write that post, even if it's short. Record that voice message, even if your English isn't perfect. Share your idea, even if it's not complete. Start learning that new skill, even if you know nothing yet. Each action you take is like planting a seed. It might not look like much now, but in time, it grows into something powerful. Perfection keeps you stuck. Progress moves you forward. Final message for Lesson 4. Let's remind ourselves. Perfection hides. Progress shines. Perfection waits. Progress starts. Perfection fears, progress grows. So today, stop polishing, stop overthinking, stop waiting for applause. Instead, take the next step, no matter how small, no matter how awkward, because that one step might be the very thing that transforms your life. Lesson 5. Momentum over motivation. In this lesson, we talk about one of the most important ideas that can change your entire life. Don't wait for motivation. Build momentum. The truth about motivation. Let's start with something honest. Motivation is not reliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you feel excited. You want to write, read, study, go to the gym, or build your dream. But other days, you feel tired. You don't want to move. You say, maybe tomorrow. Here's the danger. If you depend on motivation, you will always delay. You'll wait for the perfect mood. You'll wait for inspiration. And while you wait, nothing happens. What is momentum? Now let's understand a better concept. Momentum. Momentum means movement that grows stronger over time. Think of a train. When it starts, it's slow, it struggles, it takes energy to move. But once it gains speed, it becomes unstoppable. That's momentum. Even a small action, if repeated daily, creates unstoppable force in your life. Why small steps matter more than big plans. A big goal sounds exciting. I will lose 20 pounds. I will speak fluent English. I will earn $1 million. But excitement fades. Now imagine this. You walk for 10 minutes every day. You study English 15 minutes daily. You learn one new skill each week. These small steps create momentum. They don't need motivation. They just need discipline. And once you start, you feel proud. And when you feel proud, you want to continue. That's how momentum grows. Real-life example. The empty page. Let's take the example of a writer. Every writer struggles with one thing. The blank page. They stare at it and say, I need motivation. I'm not ready. But a smart writer doesn't wait. They tell themselves, I'll write just one sentence. Then one sentence becomes two, then a paragraph, then a page. The magic didn't come from motivation. It came from starting, even without it. That's the power of momentum. Action builds energy. Here's a powerful secret. Action doesn't follow energy. Energy follows action. Many people think, when I feel strong, I'll take action. But the truth is, when you take action, you become strong. When you exercise, you feel more awake. When you study, your brain becomes more active. When you work, your focus increases. Energy is not something you find. It's something you create by moving. Kill the excuse. I'm not in the mood. This excuse has destroyed more dreams than failure ever has. Let's be honest. How many times have you said, I'll do it when I feel like it? But the winners in life, the people who build, grow, succeed, they don't wait for the mood. They build routines. They show up. They create momentum no matter how they feel. A different example. The broken bicycle. Imagine a rusty old bicycle. It hasn't moved in years. The tires are flat. The chain is stuck. It looks useless. Now someone says, let's fix it and ride. It takes effort. It's slow at first, but with oil, movement, and patience, the chain loosens. The tires fill with air. The wheels start to turn. Soon the bicycle moves again. That's what happens when you start, even when everything feels stuck. Build daily wins. For example, make your bed, drink a glass of water, read one page, write one paragraph, take one deep breath and say, I'm moving forward. Each win is like fuel, and that fuel keeps your engine running, even when the road is tough. Final message for Lesson 5. So here's what we've learned today. Motivation is a feeling. Momentum is a habit. Motivation disappears. Momentum grows. Motivation waits. Momentum starts. If you're tired of waiting, if you're tired of starting and stopping, if you want real change in your life, then stop chasing motivation. Instead, take one step. Today. Do something small. Repeat it tomorrow. Let that step build momentum, and let that momentum change your life. Lesson 6. Discipline is greater than inspiration. This time, we focus on something that may not sound exciting, but it's the most important key to success. What is discipline? Let's start with the basics. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early when your bed feels warm. It's studying when distractions are calling. It's exercising when your body says, rest. It's showing up every single day because your dream matters. The problem with inspiration. Inspiration feels great. It gives you energy. You watch a video or hear a speech and you feel powerful. But here's the truth. Inspiration is a spark. Discipline is the fire. The spark lights you up. But without fuel, the fire dies. How many times have you felt inspired to start something, but didn't finish it? A new course, a new project, a healthy routine. You were excited for a few days, but when the feeling disappeared, so did the action. Discipline is a muscle. Discipline is just like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. At first it's hard. Your mind says, I don't want to. But each time you say yes to discipline, you teach your brain, this is who I am, I follow through. Over time, you stop depending on motivation. You stop asking, do I feel ready? Instead, you say, I do it anyway. A real-life story. The cold shower promise. Let's take a real story, not of a famous person, but of a normal young man. He struggled with laziness. He couldn't focus. He always delayed. One day, he made a small promise. Every day, I will take a cold shower. Not because it felt good, but because it was hard. For 30 days, he took that cold shower. No matter how cold, no matter how tired, no matter how busy. Guess what happened? He began to feel stronger mentally. He didn't fear discomfort anymore. He started waking up earlier, reading more, working harder. Why? Because that one daily act of discipline taught him, if I can do this, I can do anything. Discipline creates identity. When you choose discipline, you build a new identity. You stop being the person who tries. You become the person who does. And that identity changes everything. You speak with more confidence. You believe in yourself. You no longer need people to push you. You become your own guide. Small disciplines, big results. Discipline doesn't always mean huge things. It starts with small habits. Writing for 10 minutes daily. Turning off your phone after 9 p.m. Reading one page before bed. Saying no to things that waste time. These are simple, but when done daily, they transform your life. Just like bricks build a house, small disciplines build a powerful life. The mirror test. Here's something to try. The mirror test. At the end of your day, look in the mirror and ask, did I keep my promise to myself today? If the answer is yes, you feel proud. If the answer is no, you feel honest. Either way, you grow. This daily check-in builds self-respect, because the greatest respect is not from others. It's from yourself. Replace feelings with principles. Many people let feelings guide them. I feel tired, so I'll skip today. I feel sad, so I'll stop working. I feel bored, so I'll quit. But successful people replace feelings with principles. A principle is a rule that you follow, no matter your mood. I work out every morning. I study for 30 minutes daily. I create even when no one is watching. Feelings are temporary. Principles last forever. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent. Let's be honest. You will have bad days. You will feel tired, frustrated, or even lost. Discipline doesn't mean being perfect. It means being consistent. If you fall, you rise again. If you miss one day, you don't miss two. You forgive yourself. But you don't stop. Consistency is how mountains are climbed, books are written, and dreams are built. Final message for Lesson 6. So here's what we've learned today. Inspiration can start the journey, but only discipline finishes it. Discipline builds habits. Habits build identity. Identity builds destiny. Small acts of discipline lead to massive success. So ask yourself, what is one small thing you can do daily, no matter what? What promise will you keep to yourself starting today? Choose discipline, because when discipline becomes your way of life, success is no longer an accident. It becomes a habit. Lesson 7. Progress over perfection. The danger of perfection. Many people never begin because they want things to be perfect. I won't start my YouTube channel until I have a perfect camera. I won't write until my grammar is perfect. I won't speak English until I'm fluent. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is real. Perfection is like a finish line that keeps moving. No matter how close you get, it runs further away. The baby steps principle. Think of how babies learn to walk. Do they wait until their legs are strong? Do they study walking in books? Do they say, I will try only when I can walk perfectly? No, they fall 100 times, but each time they stand again. They wobble, they stumble, they laugh, and they keep going. That's progress. That's real learning. So why do we wait for perfection? A real-life story, the $3 business. Let me tell you a story of a girl who started with almost nothing. She wanted to sell handmade candles, but she didn't have fancy tools or money. She took $3, bought simple wax, and made her first candle in a teacup. It was far from perfect. The scent wasn't strong. The wax was uneven. But she sold it anyway, and got feedback. She didn't wait for perfect. She made progress. Fast forward 2 years later, she now owns a small candle company with hundreds of loyal customers. Why? Because she believed in the power of starting small and improving over time. Why perfection blocks creativity? When you aim for perfection, your mind says, this is not good enough. What if people laugh? I will fail. And fear enters your mind. But when you focus on progress, your mind says, let's try this. I can learn from this. This will take me one step forward. Suddenly, creativity flows. You're not afraid to make mistakes, because mistakes are part of growing. The brick-by-brick method. Think of your dream like building a house. You don't build the whole house in one day. You lay one brick at a time. That one video, that one paragraph, that one English conversation. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up and place your brick every day. After weeks, months, years, you'll look back and say, I built this. One imperfect step at a time. Progress builds confidence. The more you act, the more confident you become. Confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. If you want to become confident in speaking English, start speaking. Even if you make mistakes. If you want to write better, start writing. Even if the first pages are bad. Confidence grows like a tree, slowly, with care and consistency, and it only grows when you water it with action. Final message for Lesson 7. So what have we learned? Perfection is a dream that holds you back. Progress is the habit that moves you forward. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to become great. Every step counts, even small, messy, imperfect steps. So today, ask yourself, what am I avoiding because I want it to be perfect? What small progress can I make right now? Take that small action. Hit publish. Speak that sentence. Draw that picture. Because greatness is not created in silence. It's created in motion. Lesson 8. Action creates clarity. Why we stay stuck. Many people sit and wait for a perfect plan. They say things like, I don't know what I want. I don't know where to begin. I'm confused about my passion. So they pause their dreams, waiting for some magical light to show them the full path. But here's the truth. You can't think your way into clarity. You act your way into it. The puzzle table analogy. Imagine a 1,000-piece puzzle with no picture on the box. You dump all the pieces onto the table. It looks messy. You don't know where to begin. So, what do? You start with the corners. You group colors. You try. You fail. You adjust. And slowly, the picture forms. That's how life works too. You don't get clarity by staring. You get clarity by trying, by doing, by moving your hands. Real story. The accidental artist. There's a young woman who never thought she was creative. She worked a boring office job, always saying, I don't know what I'm passionate about. One day, she bought cheap watercolor paints out of boredom. She didn't know how to paint. She just tried. That weekend, she made 3 terrible paintings. But she enjoyed the process. Every Saturday, she kept painting, not waiting for perfection, just playing. 2 years later, she had her first art exhibition. Today, she's a full-time illustrator for books and magazines. She didn't discover her passion in her head. She discovered it with her hands. Action leads to feedback. When you take action, you learn 2 things. 1. What you like. 2. What you don't like. Let's say you try public speaking. You realize you enjoy sharing ideas but don't like large crowds. That's valuable clarity. Or you start a blog. You find out you love writing but hate editing. Great. Now you can focus on your strength. Without action, you're blind. With action, you gain vision. The myth of the final destination. Many of us wait for that one big dream. But here's a secret. Most people don't find their dream in one step. They find it through 10 small steps. Steve didn't become a photographer overnight. Maria didn't wake up one day and become a therapist. They tried, failed, changed direction, tried again, pivoted, learned, improved. Each step gave them more clarity. The 30-day curiosity test. Here's a powerful idea you can apply right now. Ask yourself, what is one thing I'm curious about? Not passionate, just curious. It could be podcasting, dancing, baking, learning Spanish, teaching children. Pick one. Now commit to it for 30 days. Watch videos. Read articles. Try it for 15 minutes a day. By the end of 30 days, you will know more than you do now. Even if it's not your dream, you're one step closer. That's the power of action. Why waiting feels safe, but isn't. Waiting feels safe. No mistakes, no embarrassment, no failure. But here's the danger. Waiting makes your fear grow. Doing makes your confidence grow. Imagine standing in front of a cold pool. The longer you wait, the colder it feels. But once you jump in, your body adjusts. That's life. Jump in, adjust later. The airplane rule. When a pilot takes off, the route is never perfect. Wind changes, clouds shift, turbulence happens. So the pilot constantly adjusts mid-flight. They don't sit on the runway waiting for a perfect sky. They take off and navigate in motion. In life, you're the pilot. You won't know everything before you begin. But the sky clears once you're in the air. Final words for Lesson 8. Let's repeat this truth once more. Don't wait for clarity to act. Let your actions create the clarity. Even small steps matter. Write that first sentence. Record that first video. Speak that first English phrase. Start that first 10-minute walk. Share your idea with just one person. Clarity is a gift that's revealed after you move, not before. If this video made you think, feel, or dream bigger, then don't just scroll away. Hit like, subscribe to English with Ethan, and let's build a stronger, smarter version of you every single day. Remember, one click today can shape your tomorrow.